So good evening, one and all. So today we are conducting a panel discussion on engineering education, match your passion, charting the right career choice. So these are the series of panel discussions which are being conducted across all the departments in VNR VJIT in order to give some guidance kind of thing to the various streams of engineering whichever are there in the college. So as part of this panel discussion, today we have Electronics and Instrumentation Engineering branch, which is having this panel discussion. So I would like to welcome all the students and parents whoever have come across to adhere to this panel discussion. So before going into the panel discussion, so let me just introduce you to our panel members who are there today for this panel discussion. So first we have our head of the department, professor and head of the department of EIE, Dr. R. Manjula Shri Madam. She is the professor and head of the department who has received her BTech in EC from JNTU College of Engineering, Kakinada, and ME in Electronic Instrumentation from Andhra University, Vizag, and PhD from JNTUH, Hyderabad. She has 23 years of teaching and 10 years of research experience, and she has been there with VNR VJIT since 1998. Her research interests include biomedical instrumentation, embedded systems, IoT, machine learning, and deep learning, and artificial intelligence. She has organized several seminars, guest lectures, workshops, hackathons, and FDPs at the college. She is a senior member IEEE, life member ISOI and ISTE, fellow member IETE. She is also very actively involved in several co-curricular activities in the college. She is also a member of BOS at JNTH for the boards of EIE, ICE, and BMI. She is also a reviewer for Elsewhere, Journal of Informatics in Medicine Unlocked, Journal of CIT, and Journal of Research and Reports in Ophthalmology. I welcome you, ma'am, onto this panel discussion.
Thank you, Kanti, for the nice introduction. Thank you.
Next on the panel, we have Mr. Harikrishna Moolam, Associate Professor and Senior Faculty in the department. He is having his BTech degree in Electronics and Instrumentation Engineering from JNTUH, Hyderabad, and Master's degree in Instrumentation and Control Systems from JNTU, Kakinada, and he is currently pursuing PhD in the Department of Biomedical Engineering, Osmania University. Sir has got 19 years of teaching experience and 7 years of research experience, and he has been associated with VNR VJIT since 2001 and has been serving the department and institute in various capacities. His research interests are biomedical signal processing, control systems, and have 10 publications to his credit. So he is also a life member of ISOI and ISTE. Welcome you, sir.
Good evening, Kanti Sudha Madam. Thank you for the
evening.
introduction. Good evening, all the panel members, parents, and students.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Next, we have on the panel Mr. P.V. Gopi Kumar, who is a placement coordinator in the Department of EIE. He has done his EI Electronics and Instrumentation Engineering from JNTH Hyderabad and MTech from JNTU Anantapur. So he has 9 years of experience and industry work experience for a year, and he has been associated with VNR VJIT since the past 5 years and has been the placement coordinator of the department since then. So he's currently pursuing his PhD from Annamalai University. Welcome you, Gopi, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Next on the panel, we have the industry expert, Mrs. Banu Peri, Head QA ESO, Indian Exports, Novartis, Hyderabad. So Banu Peri has began her career in the year 1988. Over the past 30 years, she focused initially in QC and moved to QA, which is her area of interest and expertise. With rich experience in formulations, intermediates, and API, Banu has served leadership roles in quality and operations. Honored first woman plant head of Dr. Reddy's, she implemented zero contract labor in plants and reduction of manpower through org redesign, a self-managed concept among unionized workforce. In her career, she worked in various roles such as training, corporate QA, handling regulatory audits, vendor management, external manufacturing quality, site QA, QMS, etc. All in all, her presence in the pharma industry accounts for about 3 decades. Handling leadership roles over a decade has given a unique know-how in regards to people, processes, and procedures. I welcome you, ma'am, today onto this panel discussion.
Thank you, Sudha, and thanks to the management for giving me an opportunity.
Right, thank you. Next, we have our alumnus, Mr. Raman Teja. Raman Teja is the CTO of IBS Global, a Polish company, and the Director of Technology in Indian Innovators Association. Holds a bachelor's degree in instrumentation engineering from JNTU and has graduated the business analytics program from the Indian School of Business. He is a qualified technology enthusiast and a certified information security expert. He is a permanent member of TITA and NULL Hyderabad. Well, I welcome you, Raman.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the warm introduction.
Yeah. So before we go into this panel discussion, let me just tell you that I'll be asking you some series of questions, which probably should be able to guide the parents as well as the students in answering their regular queries which they have about the branch. So first, let me start off with the head of the department, Mrs. Manjula Shri, ma'am. Madam, good evening. Yeah. Ma'am, we would like to know what is the branch significance, especially EIE branches. Many of them probably might not be aware of what is this electronics and instrumentation all about. So just briefly, can you tell us what is this EIE branch about?
Yeah, good evening all. Most of the people are not aware of what is electronics and instrumentation engineering. But this is not a new course. Like usually people think that this is a new course, but it's not new. It's there from years, and 18 batches have been passed out so far from VNR VJIT itself. To speak about what it is, what is instrumentation, it's a specialized branch of electronics. It's derived from electrical engineering. It focuses primarily on principles and operation of sensors and measuring instruments, basically. So instrumentation is a definite necessary for all the engineering domains in all manufacturing and production processes. This specialized branch allows us to design, manufacture, maintain, measuring and instrumentation and control devices at various plants like production and process plants, and also at research institutions. Instrumentation is a need in our day-to-day life, actually. Right from production of daily needs like food, shelter and clothing, up to space applications, including the healthcare services. To take few examples, if you look at a smart mobile phone, there exists about 50 sensors on it. The design and development of these sensors is contribution by instrumentation engineer. And when we go to a hospital, we see many instruments for the measurement of temperature, BP, sugar levels, respiration rate, etc., without which health monitoring is highly impossible. And the sensors on the satellites for communication, the dashboard on the bikes and cars, the percentage of ingredients on the food packets like milk packet or any other food packet, whatnot. Every professional, a civil engineer, a mechanical engineer, electronics engineer, an IT expert or a doctor or a businessman, without estimation or measurement, and instruments, they are not able to analyze any of their observations. This is what tells about the instrumentation. For the present era of robotics, robotics and automation and Internet of Things, instrumentation is the basis. Even tomorrow, we may expect like your Amazon order may be delivered by a drone at your footstep. That is what is instrumentation.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, it's really very interesting to know that you have your place in almost like every field, whatever you see. I can see that there is an electronics and instrumentation engineer behind it. Thank you, ma'am, for letting us know about your domains and where are the possibilities where you can find an EIE engineer. Ma'am, I would also like to know what are the job opportunities that your EIE students can have actually.
Yeah, like everywhere, like public sector companies like BHEL, DRDO, NTPC, ITC provide job opportunities for instrumentation students. And private sector companies as well as MNCs are also provide job opportunities for instrumentation students. And there are many industries like electronic industries, Hewlett Packard, Intel, automation companies like ABB, Honeywell, Yokogawa, National Instruments, pharmaceutical industries like Dr. Reddy's, Aurobindo Pharma, Mylan, medical equipment manufacturing industries like Medtronics, GE Healthcare, Johnson and Johnson, oil and gas industries like ONGC, petrochemical industries like Reliance, Indian Oil Corporation, HPCL, BPCL, whatnot. Every industry like steel industries are there, automobile industries are there, fertilizer industries, food processing, paper and pulp. All these provide opportunity to instrumentation engineers in addition to the IT industries. They're also eligible for software and IT industries.
Right, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for letting us know that there are varied opportunities. I mean, I can
Yes.
there are enormous number of opportunities for the electronics and instrumentation engineer also by what you have said. Thank you. Let me just get back to our senior faculty member, Mr. Harikrishna sir. Sir, good evening, sir. Sir, I would just like to know what are the major thrust areas which exist in your electronics and instrumentation engineering, sir?
The contemporary thrust areas which come under electronics and instrumentation branch include Internet of Things, wearable gadgets, healthcare analytics through sensors and measurements, telemedicine, especially in this pandemic situation, robotics, automation, medical instrumentation, process control instrumentation, pharmaceutical instrumentation, MEMS, micro electromechanical systems, nanotechnology, and many more thrust areas are there. The opportunities are always growing. You can see that what I just said covers most of the modern technology and markets. All these are connected at the core by electronics and instrumentation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So you have mentioned about various domains actually related to EIE. Sir, similarly, can I ask you about what do you think? How do you think that the EIE students can diversify once they graduate out from this branch, sir?
After the completion of EIE course, students have so many options, madam. So the branch itself is electronics and instrumentation engineering. So after BTech, they can pursue pure electronics engineering. Once again, in electronics engineering, there are so many subdomains like embedded systems, VLSI, electronic design, signal processing, image processing, and all. And instrumentation means, we already said, okay, we know that instrumentation means measurement and control. So you can pursue your career purely in control engineering also. So once again, in that, there are so many subdomains like control systems, process control, chemical process control, systems modeling and analysis, and all. And the branch itself is instrumentation engineering, which deals with measurement. So you can pursue pure instrumentation engineering also. And in that, so many subdomains are there, like sensors, measurements, industrial instrumentation, pharmaceutical instrumentation, analytical instrumentation, and like that. And there are other opportunities also, like biomedical engineering domain. We can pursue career in that also. In that, subdomains are biomedical instrumentation, medical electronics, biomedical signal processing, assistive technologies. And the remaining domains are robotics, automation, Internet of Things. And in addition to all these core domains, various IT related domains, everybody is eligible. We can go for that also. And latest technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, data analytics, with all these also, everybody is eligible to pursue. So all these various domains and subdomains that I said just now, in all these, you have job prospects, you have higher education prospect, you have research prospects, and all. So after completion of EIE, if at all the student wants to pursue higher education, maybe in India or abroad, he can do MS or MTech in one of these domains. If at all he is interested in administration, then he can pursue MBA also. Otherwise, if at all he is interested in core jobs, in one of these domains, he can pursue a job either in public sector or private sector. Otherwise, if at all he is interested only in software, he can pursue software jobs in any of the IT domains. In addition to all these, okay, students these days, they are preferring even government jobs also. Government administrative services are also, they are going. People are writing Group 1 exams, the civil services, and anyway for engineering we have IES. Indian engineering surveys. In addition to that, students are preferring bank POs and all so many other jobs. Okay, and some people we have seen they are out of passion they are joining army also. Like this, so many wide variety of diversification is possible after the completion of this course.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Well said, sir. As you have told, there is a lot of scope even after their graduation to diversify into various domains possibility. I mean, you have clearly explained to us about that. Thank you very much, sir. Next, I would like to get back to our placement coordinator because many of our parents would be interested to knowing about what are the career prospects related to EIE. Sir, can you just throw some light on what are the thrust areas which your students need to work on, especially in this domain, sir?
Yes, ma'am. As Mr. Harikrishna sir has already mentioned the contemporary thrust areas, and to meet the industry requirements, students should work on the thrust areas like LabVIEW, MATLAB, automation, robotics, signal and image processing, and additional training is also given in advanced technologies like ML means machine learning, Python, and artificial intelligence. With the knowledge of these technologies, they can enter into the field whatever they wanted and can cope up industry needs so as to apply those skills in these thrust areas.
Right, right. Thank you, sir. So you have explained what are the basic domains in which they can explore in order to have a very good career. Now, since we have come to the career aspect, let me just get back to our industry expert, Mrs. Banu Peri, ma'am. Ma'am, I would like to know from you, especially related to the industry, what are the scope of opportunities that this branch of engineering, especially electronics and engineering, has, and how do you see the career growth of these students which are coming out or graduating out of this branch now?
Yeah. Thanks, Sudha. I think I heard many of you stating various opportunities. There are dearth of opportunities across, and I can give examples of pharmaceutical industry where I have actually seen the industry has moved from basically from manual system to complete from manual to mechanization and now to automation. So completely with this automation, I think earlier there were opportunities only for the pharmacist and the MSc students for the pharmaceutical industry, and equally there are opportunities for engineering students. Earlier the opinion was like engineering is only for mechanical or civil. Okay, there are no other branches which is known. As I hear Dr. Manjul also stating that instrumentation is there for many years, and these services were actually offered by some of the services which were outsourced. But later, with the complete automation, you have a lot of opportunities in the pharmaceutical industry. I can give few examples in terms of for the parents and the students to understand what exactly, what will I do when I go to industry. So what are the opportunities outside? Because I hear a lot of theory, because some things I can understand, some things are above my ahead which is going. I think there are various. I hear instrumentation is basically on the is about the flow, or we talk about the energy or pressure or flow or temperature. So there are various sensors or the various temperature devices or the instrumentation or the machines which has all these for the control mechanism, which I hear. And these are the areas where the persons are required to, the experts are required in this instrumentation, who are actually learning, and when they come to industry they actually do this and they get the hands-on experience when they actually come to the ground. And there are various departments. I hear manufacturing. It's not only manufacturing. We have in the pharmaceutical industry in general they are categorized into manufacturing, the quality control, and you also have the engineering department, basically who does. There are various sectors in that which we talk about engineering, like there are mechanical, there are civil, instrumentation, and different people who are working based on the expertise. And I can give one example which I talked about the flow and temperature sensors and all. In the engineering, we have for the basic system in the pharmaceutical industry, we need a HVAC system that is called as heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. So these systems are required to maintain the clean rooms, to manufacture a tablet or an injectable or any pharmaceutical product, to have the clean areas. So for these, the instrumentation, basically they can go into commissioning areas, they can go into, there is a complete life cycle, the commissioning, the maintenance, the validation, the calibration, the preventive maintenance. So it's a complete cycle where the people are involved from instrumentation. This is one example where you have to monitor the temperature, the humidity, and the flow in terms of airflow. So this is one of the examples which I can give. And coming to the manufacturing, I think there's some echo. In the manufacturing packaging lines, earlier it was manual system, and we used to encounter a lot of problems with respect to manual errors, like say complaints, more number of complaints. And also in terms of operation excellence, the speed is low, the optimization is slow. So with all these automation, there are various sensors where the machine detects, like I can talk about tablets are, you have tablets in the bowl, and where it goes into the tube and it gets into the blister packing or strip packing. The tablets also, in case there are any broken tablets, we have a camera detection, okay, and it automatically detects. And when it goes into the machine, and instead of going into the blister, two blisters going into carton, if there is only one blister, and the sensor automatically pushes that the carton, which is directly, it goes into rejection. And similarly, there are various components which are required to pack. So at every area, these sensors are required, where the complete quality product is going to the customer. As we are into the pharmaceutical industry, the quality is prime important. So this way, the instrumentation engineer, if you take even in the laboratory case, for example, in the laboratories, I think in the lab also you have in the college the HPLCs, where the instrumentations are placed in the quality control, where the product is tested. So the testing is very critical component here, the same as manufacturing, the same as services. And when the product is tested, I think the instrumentation is important in terms of calibration, keeping them updated in terms of, and it has to work well. Otherwise, your values goes out of we call it as OS, out of spec. And it requires a lot of investigation, and sometimes we may have to reject the batch as well. So these are the areas where the instrumentation engineers, as I said, earlier there were less opportunities. With complete automation going, I think with all this data reliability, we call it as data reliability point of view, it is very important nowadays to capture this data online and to get this quality of the product.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah, ma'am. I mean, you really told us in a very, very clearly explaining that is the role of instrumentation. I mean, automation, as you told, automation, you hear it everywhere right now. So if automation is the keyword to link up to your electronics and instrumentation, I think they are finding their role in almost every domain, whatever we can see. Really, ma'am. And I think with the expertise that you have, especially wherein I have seen in your profile that you are very instrumental in reducing the workforce to automation. So I think coming it from your end is really appreciating for the branch also. Thank you, ma'am. Next, I would like to come to our alumnus, Raman Teja. Raman, first, before we go into a casual talk, I would just like to know, how do you relate your branch and to the job, whatever you're doing? I mean, whatever you're doing right now. Can you tell us briefly about that?
Yeah, sure, ma'am. One good thing that happened to me was I was fortunate enough to work or to get an opportunity to work in an industry that would have some relevance to my degree. Usually, all the engineers are going towards IT. Of course, I also started off with IT, but then I started to diversify our services into IoT and automation. So now what we do in a nutshell is that we provide complete solutions, and also we provide control domotics, like the internal home automation services. So what we do is we take up projects, and we are also developing products now in this post-COVID scenario. We are developing touchless technology, and for example, for food vending outlets, we are providing UV light based sanitation and also touchless food takeaway boxes. So now I had the opportunity to explore the whole spectrum of instrumentation in these projects. It is not just electronics or sensors, it is also coding. So when someone comes to me and asks me how relevant is EIE for an IT job, I would say as relevant as ECE, because ECE and EIE are the same when it comes to electronics and the coding part. In fact, EIE is around you more often than communication, because you don't see people talking about 5G, you don't see people talking about spectrum, right? So you see people talking about simple stuff that involves engineering, that involves instrumentation. So I started off with working on projects like the first project I worked in while I was a student in VNR was robotic arm. So it was for the Texas Instruments competition. So that's when I started exploring, and then I started a company from VNR in the VJ Hub. I registered my startup. I incubated there, and then I started exploring slowly. And then I started working on another project, and we named it PALM, Patient Assistance and Lift Monitoring. So we developed a patient lift that will help a physically infirm or disabled person to stand from a sleeping position or to stand from a sitting position. So it was a start for us to explore the various opportunities or the various aspects of an instrumentation engineer. So that's how it all started. And then I just started working on automation and IoT. So now we extensively work on automation and IoT. So we are trying to work on custom-made devices to form our own networks, to form our own nodes and mesh networks. So we are exploring different kinds of applications.
Right, Raman Teja. Really interesting to know that you have got an opportunity to work on varied domains. I knew that you were quite innovative even at your college level, because I was there in one of the project reviews where I have seen a very good collaboration existing between EC and EI students in carrying out that project called Patient Monitoring and Lift Monitoring System. Really very glad to hear that in the COVID scenario, you're working on so many other things apart from whatever you are doing. Yeah, I would just like to know, since it's parents are also there, just what were, in which year did you pass out actually, Raman?
I passed out in 2016, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So what was your guiding force when you joined this electronics and instrumentation branch?
So I took an informed decision. Actually, I got into EC in BVR College, BV Raju. So in the second counseling of MSET, I purposefully took EIE. It was not by chance; it was by choice. So even though I got into EC, I took the second counseling. And then before I joined, I had to make a choice between computer science or electronics. Then I wanted to choose electronics. And in electronics, I wanted to choose instrumentation. The reason being, my father was also into electronics business. So our family business is into design and development of transformers, of measuring instruments. So I have some exposure regarding this domain. But after coming to the college was the real impact. So before joining, it was just the love for electronics. But when I came to the institute, I had some opportunities like the incubation center and various other factors. Even the department was very supportive for me, especially my department. I can proudly say they supported me a lot in terms of exploring various opportunities, because frankly speaking, there was a lot of trade-off between the coursework and the work I was doing, because I was parallelly running my startup while I was studying. So I had a lot of support from the faculty. So I used to stay back at the college for longer hours. There were the facilities. So it's up to the student to utilize the facility. So and then I had very good interaction with most of my faculty members. So I still remember when I was going to my first internship in the first year. I consulted a few faculty members. I was trying to discuss with them on what I should do next. And then I also before starting my own company, I did an internship in two companies. Like in the first year itself, I interned in ECIL, and the second year I interned in ITW Signode. Signode is a very huge firm, and it's a company, very huge company, and they're also into instrumentation and automation. So for all these, so whenever I was given a task in the internship, I used to get back to my faculty. I still remember talking to my faculty members regarding how to solve this particular issue. So it's all like, you know, it starts from one point, and when the ecosystem is good, we have a very good ecosystem in VNR, especially. See, I cannot comment about other colleges, but I'm I'm a student of VNR, so I know for sure that there is a good ecosystem. That ecosystem helped me. I mean,
Right.
a single person cannot do much. Like, they need a lot of support from outside. So I had that support. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm thankful.
Yeah, Raman, really thank you for saying that we have a very good ecosystem running in the college. I mean, students like you can authenticate that because when we see you people, we really feel proud of you and the achievements, whatever are coming from the department. Now that you have mentioned department and faculty, let me just get back to our head of the department, Manjula Shri ma'am. Ma'am, can you just briefly tell us about your department, how many students are there in the department, your faculty, related things actually?
Yeah, madam. There are 2 sections with 60 students in each section. From second year, 6 more students will be joining through ESET examination. That is the student strength. Then coming to the faculty strength, we are 27 teaching faculty, plus 5 non-teaching faculty available in the department. Out of them, 3 are professors, 6 associate professors, and 16 assistant professors. Out of the total faculty, 8 are PhDs. It counts to be 30%, and 17 of them are pursuing PhDs. That is the strength of the department.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So I can see that it has a good mix of what you call the PhD holders and all the almost like catering to the various needs of the student.
Yes.
Ma'am, I would just like to ask you, since it's an admissions time and many parents and students are basically looking at various colleges as their options. So they are basically, many of them don't have awareness about what is this NBA accreditation process. I mean, what is NBA accreditation and what is the significance, or I mean, how is it? How can the students relate to whether they should join an NBA accredited course or not? And similarly, this NIRF ranking, actually, the ranking framework, which we see that there are many rankings coming, almost
Yes.
like see every week you find a new ranking coming out. So, what are the main things that they should consider? I mean, from the parents' perspective, can you just guide them in related to these things?
Yeah. NBA and NAC are grading systems, and NIRF is a ranking system. These two, these are gradings and rankings, provide a better understanding about the quality of the institution. How good is the institution? We can't say ours is the best. So there are some regulatory authorities, AICTE and UGC. They approve NBA and NAC accreditations. NBA is for the department. They approve this for the departments based on certain parameters to be maintained as per the standards. Whereas NAC is for the institution. Across the institution, they don't look at individual departments, but it is for the institution. So the parameters they look at usually include teaching learning processes and practices, the laboratory facilities and infrastructure, placement, higher education for the students, extracurricular and co-curricular activities, research facilities available. So all these account for this grading system. So as if they are as per standards, they is going to offer like approved accreditation for 3 years, right? Whereas NAC is for 5 years usually if the standards are more. So the department has 3 years accreditation, and NAC for the institution is for 5 years right now. And coming to the ranking, NIRF is a National Institutions Ranking Framework. It is by the MHRD, Government of India. This promotes the competition among the universities and institutions. So they also follow certain standards, and based on that, they'll be giving the ranks to different institutions. So we are at 127th rank in engineering category and in the band of 151 to 200 in overall category.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So it's basically a kind of a quality assessment being done through either of this accreditation or this ranking framework, as far as I have understood. Hare Krishna, sir. Now that you have told us that there are various opportunities, varied fields in which instrumentation engineer can go into, I would like to know how varied experienced faculty are there in the department. What are the domain expertise of the faculty in the department?
Electronics and instrumentation engineering is actually a multidisciplinary branch. Okay, obviously, the faculty members in such a department have diverse specializations because the discipline itself gives the scope for that. And actually, such a thing is desired to have, okay, diverse skill set and specialization. Our faculty expertise includes process control instrumentation, industrial instrumentation, automation, signal and image processing, biomedical instrumentation, embedded systems, robotics, Internet of Things, healthcare analytics, microsystems engineering, nanotechnology, quantum dynamics. These many fields, okay, the faculty are expertise in. So we can understand this expertise of faculty from the publications that we have, from the book chapters that we have, from the patents that are filed and all. And in addition to the expertise of the faculty, if you count the experience of the faculty, minimum experience the faculty has is 5 years and maximum 23 years of teaching and research experience is there. And on total, if you calculate average teaching experience of faculty in the department, it is coming to around 11.25 years, which is not the easy thing. Okay, that is a great thing, okay, for a department. So this itself indicates the experience of the faculty and expertise of the faculty in the department.
Right, sir. Right. Thank you. So, as you told, there are varied domains of expertise in your department itself, by which you have told. Thank you, sir. So, next, I would like to go back to our Banu ma'am. Ma'am, what is the industry looking for? I mean, what is the skill set that is expected from students coming out of electronics and instrumentation branch? So, since you're an industry person, probably you would be in a better position to tell us about this.
Yeah, thank you. So I think along with the theory background, basically in terms of learning in the curriculum, last 4 years in the instrumentation, there are also, I think there are soft skills which are also required for every person. And I know there are many events or many platforms which are being organized in the along with the curriculum in the colleges, where the student develops a lot of communication skills and then interpersonal skills and leadership in terms of organizing various events and all. So I think these are the also additional skills which are required, and basic communication skills. You know, most of the people, even though they have good knowledge, and I think many times in the interview they fail. They know how to write, but they are very poor in explaining. So I think these are the things which are really required for them to additionally to prove themselves in terms of what are their capabilities in terms of other than academics.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Raman, since you have come out from this EI branch, I would like to know what are the curriculum benefits or the focus areas which you think have helped you in your career?
So as per the curriculum, I think I cannot point out at one particular subject that helped me, ma'am, because when I start to work on a project, I realize that there are multiple aspects that I'm touching upon. For example, the coding aspect or the electronics, or in terms of system design, or so I would say that one thing for sure, our curriculum was quite diverse. It was accommodating the it was kind of adapting and accommodating the new changes in the industry. So that is the most important thing. So keeping the core engineering intact, our curriculum was adding on top of it the latest advancements. So in the curriculum we were introduced to robotics, we were introduced to real-time operating systems, we were introduced to pharmaceutical engineering. So when it comes to the electronics part, it is the same for all circuit branches. So the electronics is pretty much the same because it is the core. But on top of it, I personally observed that there were many subjects, uh, both in 3-2 and 4-1-4-2, like in these 3 semesters especially, we had an exposure. So the moment we started getting electives, we had very good electives. So different people chose their electives based on their career choices. For example, a few students in EIE chose cybersecurity as one of their elective, and cybersecurity has got nothing to do with circuit branches, if you see from a layman standpoint. But there are people who are quite clear on what they want to do in their masters. They wanted to pursue computer engineering, so they took cybersecurity. And then we had operating systems. We had many good subjects that lay a path. So it gave us an opportunity to attend many interviews also, because there are certain interviews that require a student to pursue certain courses. So the curriculum was pretty diverse. That is what I felt, and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
observing it also practically.
Yeah. Thank you, Raman. Thank you for those inputs. Manjula Shri ma'am, since Raman has given very good positive feedback on your curriculum and all these things, I would like to know, do you have any kind of collaborations with the industry, or how has it helped you in your department actually? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we have MOUs with different industries. We are in collaboration with National Instruments, Yokogawa, Elico Limited, Polman Industries, J Robotics, Soroco Soft. These are few, like the transfer of knowledge, hands-on experience for the students by them is taking place with these. So National Instruments, the department is certified as NI Academy.
Oh.
So they will be offering a CLAD certification course. The students can be certified in that. They'll be given a CLAD certification. Similarly, Yokogawa also offers some certified courses. It's a automation industry, And Elico is also like, it's a manufacturing industry, medical and measuring analytical instruments manufacturing industry. Recently, we are into with Blue Prism, which gives robotic process automation services. So they also have some academic services. They will be transferring, or the student can be certified with their academic certification course. So that's with these collaborations.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. I have seen some of the EC students also working with your NI tools and all those things where you have been very helpful. Actually, yeah. When you mentioned about the NI Academy, I just got that thought. Yeah. Ma'am, what about internships? I mean, are the students going for any kind of internships with the industries?
Right. There is a possibility that there is availability. The industries are calling for internships. They are offering internships like 2 months long, 4 weeks long, because during the summer break they'll have 2 months break. So during that time, the industries are offering 2 months long internships, and during semester break also 4-week long internships are given. And a few industries also offer semester-long internships during their final semester of course as a major project. So this is how the internships are offered by the industries to our students. And sometimes it is a selection process is also there. Not only these, like they are also attending internships offered by the IT industries.
Okay.
In addition to this.
Right. Yeah. Very good to know that they are getting internships in the industries also. Sir, Hari Krishna sir, one question to you again. Sir, regarding this, since ma'am has told that many are going for internships and all, I would like to know, how do you keep your students abreast with the latest technologies? So how do you ensure that they are well equipped with all the latest technologies?
Actually, the technology is changing rapidly day by day. So in order to cope up with all that, what we are doing is we are taking the help of certification courses, internships, workshops, guest lectures. All these are helpful to bridge the gap between academics and industry expectations. So in case of certification courses, we have made it mandatory that minimum 2 certification courses has to be done by each and every student in addition to the regular subjects and labs. Okay, so the certification courses that the department is offering are LabVIEW certification, CLAD certification, PLC and SCADA programming, design thinking, Internet of Things, Python programming, Cisco certified network associate, VLSI, machine learning, robotics. In all these thrust areas, the department is providing certification courses to bridge the gap between academics and industry needs. Okay. In addition to that, as I already said, guest lectures are also arranged with experts from DRDO and other the Eaton Corporation and other companies. Okay, so that they can share the knowledge of instrumentation practices in those industries, and workshops are arranged. Internship, it is mandatory to go do internship after the 3rd year, 2nd semester. Okay, so with all these programs, we are able to keep the student abreast of latest technologies.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, any visits to the industry where you have taken your students to have a practical feel of what is about EIE and all those things?
Yes, yes, madam. Actually, just like certification courses, which are mandatory, okay, you have to do 2 certification courses. Just like that, even in case of industrial visits, the policy of the department is every semester, at least we have to take the each and every year student, 1st year student, 2nd year, and so on, to at least 1 industry. Like that, throughout the 4 years of BTech, 8 semesters are there. So minimum they will be visiting 8 industries by the time they complete their degree. So some of the industries that generally we go for is Hindustan Coca-Cola Beverages Private Limited, and L&T Metro Rail, then Mylan Laboratories, which is a pharma related company, Incois, which is nearby, Indian National Center for Ocean Information Services, Clonge Biotech, Elico Limited, which is the first analytical instrumentation company in India, which is near Balnagar, Polman Instruments, Pollution Monitoring Instruments Company, which is at Nizambet near to us, Quality Photonics Private Limited, which is the India's largest producer of LEDs and LED display and optoelectronic products. Then we have taken, we generally take the students to Suvarna Cements, okay, where we take them to BHEL, we take them to AGI Glasspack, Bongir generally, okay, which are completely automated plants, and they will learn a lot of things by looking at all those the control, measurement, instrumentation parts, okay, practically.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I mean, very exhaustively you have listed all the companies where your students have visited, and it's really good to know that they're having that kind of exposure in their graduate level itself.
Yes.
Sir, any kind of which you have done, which had a societal impact? I mean, any kind of projects which you have done?
Yes, madam. Actually, faculty offer projects to the students, which may be part of their research work, or the project sanctioned to them by the funding agencies like AICT, UGC, DST, and other organizations, and are just academic projects. But most of the cases, significant portion of these projects have tangible social impact. And the department has done so many social impact projects. Just to name few of them: wheelchair navigation using electrooculography, and also using hand gestures. Okay, using electrooculography under my guidance, some of the students have worked using hand gesture. Dr. Vidyasagar sir has guided the students, and they have done it. Okay, so this wheelchair navigation using electrooculography, it is useful for those patients who are completely paralyzed. Okay, the only movement that is possible for those patients is eye movement only. So in such a case, by capturing eyeball movement, that is used for wheelchair navigation. So that is a very good social impact project. Similarly, we have remote patient vital parameter monitoring and abnormalities detection while the transit from the home to the hospital. Okay, during the transit, all these vital parameters are measured and sent to the hospital and the doctor. Okay, actually, this is the project guided by the N. Akshay sir in the department. Okay, and it is a funded project. And Roti board, which is like a roti maker. Okay, some modifications are done. That is also a funded project. And initially, when you were interacting with Raman, he was saying about the project patient assistance and lift monitoring. That has a lot of social impact, like that smart trash bin, then arsenic free rice cooker, 3D printed prosthetic leg, 3D multimodal MRI brain tumor segmentation. By using MRI scanning and all, from the 2D picture, they are printing 3D model of the brain, so that it will be easy for the doctors when they are diagnosing this brain tumor, and it is also helpful for biological research. So like that, the department have done so many projects which have great social impact.
Right, sir. Right. I mean, I can see by the way, so passionately saying about all those projects which are executed by your students. Thank you, sir. Sir, before I go to the other things, there are many questions in the chat box wherein people are asking about placements. So I'll just get to that particular point. Manjula Shri ma'am, what about placements from EIE branch? So because I can see many are asking, parents are interested in knowing how will be the placements. Yeah.
Yeah, the placement record is good. Actually, it is increasing from year to year, right? And if you look at the statistics from 2018 to 2020, in 2018 it is 76% of eligible students, and then it is 80% in 2019. In 2020, it is 83%. So it has been increasing year to year. And they are grabbing good opportunities, like from not all are into the core industries, but also from IT industries. And most of the placements are like because Hyderabad is IT based region, and most of the placements at the campus are into IT sector than into core. Core industries are also there. National Instruments has taken, Optomec has taken, Dr. Reddy's have recruited our students. Okay. So like that, there are good opportunities, and it's good. It's good, and it's year by year it is increasing.
Yes, ma'am. So it's a progressive path, actually. What you related to core. I mean, anyway, for all branches also, even in the IITs also, you don't find so many core jobs compared with the other jobs. But of course, I agree that the students are well placed. Now, since we are talking about placements, let me get back to your placement coordinator, Mr. Gopi Kumar. Gopi sir, sir, I would like to know what are the trainings that you give to your students, and who are the recruiters for your particular branch of engineering?
Yes, madam. Recruiters for the students in this branch, most popular and common recruiters include UHG, Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, DuPont, Tata LXCC, Spinco Biotech, Medtronics, and so on. These are under core industries. And if you say like reputed MNCs like IT sector, those are TCS, Capgemini, JPMC, Deloitte, Honeywell, GE, Philips, Siemens, Meda Servo, so etc. A lot many companies are there. And apart from the company recruiters, public sector companies recruit instrumentation engineers, as already our HOD said, and some of them recruit GATE as a qualifier or certain GATE score, but there are companies which have their own recruitment process for BTech graduates. These jobs are announced through employment news, and our institute has a subscription to the same. We pass on the relevant information to the students also.
Okay,
and you have asked about me how the students trained for the placements, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, actually, I want to say this is one of our strength. Why? Because We focus on different areas to make the students industry ready, like important things. Those are to improve their problem solving skills, to build proper resume, to overcome stage fear and improve confidence, and to rectify body language. And also important thing, and also one more thing, we put our more focus on the skills needed for the core sectors as well as IT sectors. Means for this, our VNR Institute has a very systematic and structured approach to the student training. We have the cell called Competency Development Cell, CDC. I happen to be one of the coordinators of CDC2 in that department, which looks into training on technical competencies, including trending technologies, areas like advanced technologies. Already I have mentioned machine learning and artificial intelligence, and but you may know them as emerging or frontline technologies of Industry 4.0 skills. Industry 4.0, that is trending now, such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, and so on. The department conducts various training programs specific to EAE students, such as on LabVIEW, PLC SCADA, supervisory control and data acquisition, etc. And also we have the TNP cell, training and placement cell, which conducts more generic training programs and refresher courses for C, data structures, Java, and so on. There are high intensity training programs for placement readiness and campus recruitments. And also we have the English faculty teach communication skills with contemporary relevance, also brushing up the students' soft skills along the way. Students participating in hackathons and coding competitions also attend boot camps as a part of these events and get rigorous training in that short period too. This holistic approach make the students industry ready, and so that they have confidence whenever they get into the industry, and whatever the industry people will assign the work to them, they can easily do that work and cope up
Yes.
the industry requirements.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, similarly, in this context, many are asking about what is the highest pay package that EI students can grab, actually?
So far, 14 lakhs per annum offered by JP Morgan Chase. And one more happiest thing is Amazon is recruiting our electronics and instrumentation engineering students also, which is offering 30.50 lakhs, and process is currently in progress. If if the performance is good, and if she performed well, then she will grab 30.50 lakhs per annum. A lot many companies are there offering good packages, like for example Deloitte, which is offering 6 lakhs per annum, and a Bank of Singapore, which is offering 11 lakhs per annum. So as far as you asked me the question, my highest package means currently 14 lakhs per annum by JP Morgan Chase.
Okay, sir. Right, sir. Thank you. So it's really very good offer which the students can look to. And probably I think VNR is providing ample amount of opportunities for the students in whatever way possible, so that they can get good job offers also. Thank you, sir. Now coming back to Banu ma'am. Banu ma'am, I would just like to ask you, how did you get involved with VNR? I mean, how was your involvement with VNR, and any kind of feedback that you would like to give about this particular branch EIE in Vienna?
Sure, sure. So I have to wear another hat. As you know, women wear multiple hats time to time, like as a parent and as a wife, as a daughter, and so many roles which we need to play. And I can say as a mother, my sons, I have two sons, and my elder one has passed out as a graduate from VNR, and that too from alumni of VNR, and from instrumentation. He has done his in PAE, and Dr. Manjula is also head of the department as well as one of the faculty. And he's into, for last 4 years, he worked into various streams and now into designing. So that is one thing. And how I'm associated with us very closely is we are close to the area where we stay, and in terms of proximity, college is very near to where we stay, and then the college, the infrastructure. I think there are many things which are really good, and the placements, we heard many people talking about this in terms of the students who passed out. And also, my second son, who is doing from BJIM, he is doing the MBA, Masters in Finance, and that's how I'm more closer. And why did I join my second son is I know that the faculty is good, the infrastructure is good, and then the laboratories, and then there are various platforms which you already mentioned about in terms of developing soft skills, and as well as the technical item. With all this and with this AA plus A plus certifications and all accreditations, and I wish many more. So with all this, I'm more closer, and that's how I have this
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, I
And
do
also,
understand.
and also, I would like to add, like working with my ex-company, Dr. Reddy's, where we also used to have students who used to come for internship, and also I happened, to meet one of the alumni of his name is Srikanth. Srikanth, and who is from Bosch, and he has come for a troubleshooting for our equipment where we had a problem, and which is an imported one, where the students, and that I was very happy to see him, and he is happened to be one of my colleagues' son as well. And I've seen in many career prospects and then growth, and we feel so happy that really they are doing well in their career. So these are the live examples which I have as of now.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, thank you very much for giving such kind of a positive feedback, and especially since you said that you are a mother of a student who has passed out from EIA. It's really very good to know from you, because the parents also probably yes, they might be looking at you with I mean, a lot of aspirations that yes, I can also join my ward in this particular college or in this particular branch. Yeah, coming back to Raman.
Ma'am.
So a lot of technical things being discussed. Now, let us just talk about campus life. How was the campus life in VNR?
I enjoyed it a lot. I mean, from a student perspective, so when the student joins the college, there are many aspects in one's life where they have to improve upon. For example, mostly the communication. We have to learn a lot of communication and soft skills, people skills, how to interact with people, how to talk to them, how to express your point. So I was actively taking part in the campus fests. I was actively taking part in the student chapter activities. So it was quite a good experience for me, and not just the activities involving the students, just like Hari Krishna sir and Manjula ma'am were mentioning. I was part of. I mean, not me alone. Every student of VNR, they were taking to shadow engineering, image mirror engineering, and then campus industry visits. So there was a lot of exposure.
Yes.
So especially the involvement in the student chapters and the campus fests was really it was a great learning experience in terms of the interpersonal skills.
Yeah, Raman. Similarly, can you tell us what are the values that you have learned, especially from the institute, and what do you think are the best practices that are followed in the institute?
Uh, Basically, I don't know. I mean, there's nothing specifically that I can mention, but overall there is a great learning. For example, the vision of the institute is carried out in the administration, in the operations, in a lot of aspects. And one thing that every Vienna student can is something called as the 7 habits of highly effective people, right? And even in those 7 habits, so we have this placard pasted in all the classrooms. So even when even in multiple occasions in my interactions with DN Rao Garu, so he was mentioning these things. So in that one particular thing that I always keep in mind is to start with the end in the mind. So I always try to have the end goal. So because without the end goal, whatever we do is meaningless. That's what I tell all my juniors also. So a lot of people join engineering without having clarity on what they want to do, where they want to be. They think that okay, after 4 years I will decide, and then they go to masters, and after masters they end up in the same crossroads that they were after engineering. So they're just postponing that dilemma for 2 years by joining masters without a proper planning. So there are a huge opportunities out there, but we are missing out on opportunities because we are not focusing on the end in the mind. So that is something I really believe in. We should have a clarity. It might work, it might not work. That's a secondary story. But we should have a plan in place. Success
Yeah.
is subjective. What is success for me may not be success for someone else. So it's not that, but the goal is important.
Yeah, very truly said, Raman. And I didn't think that you people really had those 7 habits in mind, because we keep on imposing those things, thinking that probably, yes, someday or the other they'll realize the importance of these 7 habits in life of highly effective people. So I think, yeah, it's really good to know that you have remembered that thing, and you have used that in your career also. And very good to hear from what you call alumnus like you, wherein students also get inspired. Your juniors do look up to you people for guidance and all these things. Thank you, Raman. Now, Manjula Shri ma'am,
Thank you, ma'am.
I'd just like to ask. Now, I've seen that Raman is like an all-rounder. So,
Yeah.
how are the what are the platforms that you provide, or what are the opportunities that you give to your students so that they develop into this kind of all-round personalities?
Yeah,
So,
there are.
yeah.
Yeah, like there are the MTP cell first. The MTP cell molds the students into all-rounded personalities. They provide training right from the first year to the final year. There are different levels of training. In the first year, the mentoring starts, and it, of course, it continues. So the training and placement year to year at different levels they are providing, and obviously that molds the students as a all-rounded personality. And also various technical events by the professional society chapters, cultural events by the cultural clubs, improve the students' organization skills and competition spirit, and also participation in technical fests and cultural fests in and outside institute provides some value addition to the students' resumes, as well as develops confidence among the students.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Ma'am, what about this professional bodies? I have heard about some professional bodies in your what do you call
Yes.
it, in your biodata also. So, what are this role of professional bodies and professional student chapters in the institute?
Yes, yes. Like there are many professional chapters in the institution. Among those, Instrument Society of India is the exclusive for instrumentation students. But still, they also participate in the other student chapters, professional chapters like IEEE, ISTE. They allow them to participate in domain-specific events across India, because the professional society activities are domain-specific, and there they'll mix up with the different domains. Like a student of instrumentation student will be meeting an IEEE a student chapter student who is from other branches also, from EC and EEE. Similarly, in IST student chapter, they'll be mixing up with all engineering branches, and so they'll have a mix up of knowledge sharing and other events like workshops and guest lectures and other things, where they'll be sharing their knowledge among themselves.
Yes.
So this
yes.
will definitely help improving their all-round personalities.
Yes, yes. Thank you, ma'am. Now I'd like to get back to Gopi Kumar, our placement coordinator. I keep seeing in the chat box a lot of questions on placements only. So just a little bit about that. Mr. Gopi, sir, there are questions like, would you give training to students in Python, Java? So do you really involve any kind of experts from outside in training these kind of, what do you call, trainings being done for your students?
Yeah, ma'am. Already I have mentioned type of trainings which we are providing to our instrumentation branch students. And also, yes, actually the answer is the institute is quite aware of the fact that the market and domain in general keep changing dynamically, even changing very fast. Thus, we not only observe the market from the outside or just on the surface, but we get people who are on the field and are experts excelling in their own ways in order to train our students. Even entrepreneurs train the students through various programs and collaborations that the institute is a part of it. And already, as my HOD ma'am said, that we are making the industry people, part of the BOS also, Board of Studies. So definitely we will involve the experts from the outside to train the students actually.
Okay, sir. Right, sir. Thank you. So they are kept abreast about all the latest coding things or whatever are required related to software jobs also, as per I understand from you. Ma'am, Manjula Shri ma'am, just before I wrap up, one last question to you. So what are the significant achievements of students from your branch? And can you just tell us some significant alumni who have passed out from this branch?
Yeah, among the achievements by the instrumentation students, one exclusive opportunity is ISY gold medals offered by Instrument Society of India, which has been originated at IISc Bangalore. So they offer every year a gold medal to the best academic performance in instrumentation branch. Of course, there are about 11 to 12 institutions around, in Hyderabad, and almost like from 2006 to 2011, our students have grabbed that medal. And again, they started their grabbing the medal from 2015 and till date, till 2019, the ISY gold medal has been grabbed by our students. And they won prizes at hackathons conducted at national level. They also won like best paper awards. We have like our students grabbed good gate ranks, all India ranks, which is below 50. And also like many even awards, other awards, like even Raman has received many awards. I think he'll talk about his awards.
Yes.
And coming to the significant alumni, it's 2 long years, like 18 years is not a small period. And we have very good, alumni being placed at excellent positions. From the first batch, Kalyan Rao is working as scientist here at BARC. Similarly, Suman of 2000 batch is scientist here at DRDO. And many like in India and abroad working as control engineer at England. And one student, Sandeep, is a founder and a managing partner at Arcedo Solar Power Systems. Vishwanath is another engineering manager at Eton India Innovation Center. All these are like settled at core engineering positions and at high positions. Similarly, like, and of course, one more student like K. Pradeep is working as technical development manager at Intel Corporation, Arizona. Sagar of 2009 batch is working as operations officer at IOCL. Mohan Krishna is actually working as software engineer at Cloud Robotics, Boston. Abhiram is working at Analog Circuits, Germany. Mohan Krishna is working as software development engineer at Microsoft. Similarly, they are working at Intel. Few are working at ZF USA.
Yes.
Like, there are many to write, but because of the time constraint, I just wanted to stop here.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. I can understand. Yeah, as you told, they are really holding significant positions in the society and in your domain of expertise, especially in the EI branch. Ma'am, before I close, some closing remarks from all the panel members. Banu ma'am, just one last question to you. What do you think sets apart the VNR Institute from the other colleges? What is how does how is VNR apart from the other institutes or other engineering colleges in the states? Your perception.
Yeah, you already mentioned earlier in terms of best college with a lot of accreditations, and then infrastructure in terms of we already heard about the lecturers and the faculty in terms, and best labs which are there, and best placements which you already heard, and with 18 years of a long journey here. I think with all this and with all the practical experiences which we already see in many generations, they are either into government or private or public sector, or you can also see many of them have started their own startups as well. So I think this is really good.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for those nice words. Raman, just one last question to you also.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah. Raman, you have, as Manjula Shrima was telling, you had significant achievements in the college during your presence or during your graduation days. So how do you think these have helped you in your career, and any kind of advice which you would like to give for the students who would like to join EI? I mean, what are the kind of opportunities they have with respect to industries or in exploring the career opportunities?
So, firstly, answering regarding the awards and recognitions. So, what an award does to you is it gives you more confidence, it gives you more motivation to keep doing what you're doing. So, once in a while, we need someone to tell us, someone to validate that yes, where you're going is right. You're in the right direction, and this is a token of recognition for this. So that's how it helped me. And coming to an advice, the advice I would like to give to every student, every junior of mine is to start early, to make to do whatever he wants to do, but do it early. Like there's no good time to start a project. There's no good time to learn. So start it from the first day of your college, from the first year itself. Make mistakes early. So it could be anything. So electronics might not be a cup of tea. Coding might not be a cup of tea. Entrepreneurship might not be a cup of tea. But don't have a regret in your mind that you didn't try. Try it from day one. If you want to make mistakes early in your life. If you want to lose early in your life. At least by the time you graduate your engineering, you'll have a clarity on what you're doing. Because the most important thing that we all misutilize is time. So when we don't use this time, the whole life becomes up and down later because we are all running right now after graduating, so we don't have a time to take a break and contemplate and start afresh. So it's always good to start, make utilization of those 4 years, 4 valuable years. That is what I would suggest, irrespective of branch, irrespective of who it is.
Yeah, Raman. So you're really sounding like a matured person now, and I see this a lot, especially in the alumni from VNR. So they always keep giving good suggestions to their juniors, and they do lend their hand in bringing up the other students also along with them. And it's really good to hear from you, Raman. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Before I close this session, I would like to thank all the panel members who have been part of this panel discussion today. I would like to thank Banu ma'am, Raman, who has spared his time, Hari Krishna sir, Manjula Shri ma'am, and Gopi sir for taking your time out for this panel discussion. It really indeed would be a great help to the students who are aiming to join VNR, and especially in the branch of electronics and instrumentation. Ma'am, before I quickly wrap up a little, I mean, I would just like to read out a few questions which probably you would like to take. So the many students are in a dilemma, or probably they want to know how to have a comparison between the branches of ECE, EEE, and EI.
Yeah. Quickly, like these three branches will be calling as circuit branches, and as per the academic content is referred, we divide like 33%, 33%, and so on. And EEE, ECE, EIE students will be studying commonly about 66%, and 33% will be different, which is exclusively instrumentation for the instrumentation students, whereas communication, that part is communications for the ECE students, and electrical engineering for the EEE students. So mostly out of the remaining 66, 133% is electronics exclusively, and the rest of the 33% is combination of all, like basic sciences, mathematics, and physics, chemistry, computer science subjects, some other branch subjects, civil engineering subjects, mechanical engineering subjects also they are studying. So all those come together, it will be the complete curriculum, whereas they'll be differing only with 33% from ECE and EEE students.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So as you have told, these three branches are called as circuit branches, and they have they're almost like having the same curriculum, almost different curriculum. So I think that answers the question from one of the parents who have asked this. And one more question. which they ask is, why do students choose EC or EEE over EI?
Yeah, people are not aware of what is EIA. They think
Yeah.
that it's a new branch, and why to go for a new branch? Let us go with the standard branches like ECE and EEE. But EIE is a branch which has been emerged for the need to meet the requirements of the society. It has been emerged, and I wish, like, if you think like if you want to do a lot for the society, and whatever you study and whatever you do will be around you. You can see what you have done. That's what I would like to say. Then looking at if there is an opportunity, definitely, but if not, can look into EIE, because everything you develop will be serving the society.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank
And
you for
I
that.
think I can add one small point to what Manjula ma'am said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So choice of ECE and CSE is in most cases, in 80% of the cases, is not an informed decision. We choose it because someone asks us to choose it, or we choose it because we only know those two branches. I don't think people give the respect to the branches that they're choosing. They have to respect them. They have to spend a day or two on each branch, not just EIE. Every branch has to study. So if we don't respect our choices, we end up making wrong decisions. So I personally feel most of them have no clue what they're doing. That is why they regret taking engineering.
Okay, Raman. On that note, I would like to just inform all the parents and students who have joined us that in VNR we provide equal amount of opportunity for all the branch students, irrespective of their branch. They are given opportunity, various kinds of opportunities, especially in terms of placement or in terms of the competitions, whatever they attend to, or whatever ideas they have. They nourish them. They give them funding. So all these kinds of things are done, especially related to all the branches. So this panel discussion is basically in the intention of guiding you people all in taking up this branch as an option. So thank you for attending this panel discussion, and thanks to all the panel members, those who have really given very good inputs and guiding. You all have been a guiding force for all these people who will be looking into this panel discussion. Since this video recording also will be available on the website, so the parents can refer to them at any point of time in order to make sure that whatever choice they are making, is it correct or not. Thank you, sir. Thank you for all the panel members. Manjula Shri ma'am, Hari Krishna sir, Gopi sir, Banu ma'am, and Raman. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, ma'am.
Have a good
Thank you for giving opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you.